I'm going to be showing you exactly how to turn any Pokemon, shiny or not, into a fully overpowered, battle-ready Pokemon that destroys everything in its path. Whether you're battling in the ZA Royale, climbing ranks in the Battle Club, or training them to send to Pokemon home to be ready for the next game. From Pokemon natures to understanding IVs to efficient EV training, I'll be breaking everything down for you so you can easily get started. So what exactly are natures? Every Pokemon in Legend ZA has a nature. It's a hidden personality value that gives you a plus 10% boost to one stat and a minus 10% penalty to another. That 10% change is actually really massive at high levels, and it's often the difference between you outspeeding or getting one shot. Now, there are 25 natures in total. 5 are going to be neutral, which means they're going to have no stat changes, and those are going to be hardy nature, docile, serious, bashful, and quirky. While there are going to be 20 influential natures that boost one stat while lowering another, which I'll list on the screen right here, which you can take a screenshot of, but we'll be going over them as we continue this video. Now, in order to check your natures on your Pokemon, all you have to do is simply go to your Pokemon summary, go to the stat page, and use your right stick, and then you can reach this exact page where if you see a red up arrow, it's going to equal a 10% boosted stat, while the blue down arrow is going to equal a minus 10%. For this example, I'll be using my Garchomp over here, my shiny Garchomp, and we'll be taking a look at its stats. So we're going to check summary just like this, and we'll see that it is a gentle nature, which means it's going to have high special defense and low defense. And for a Garchomp, I'm not going to really want that nature. Which brings us to the next big question. How are you going to change a nature on a Pokemon? Well, you have two options. One, I'm going to hunt Gibbles until I find the right nature, or two, I'm just going to spend 20k Poke Dollars in order to get a nature mint that will change its nature to be the right one. Now, the question is, where do you buy your natures? And there are actually going to be 3 locations that I'll be taking you to find every single nature mint that you need. The first one is going to be over to the left of Wild Zone 3 in this location here. So let's head over to Wild Zone 3 and I'll show you exactly what is here. So from Wild Zone 3, all you want to do is just follow me, just like this. Turn left over here. Turn right. Get into this little corner here, just like this. And then you'll find a little market spot just like this over here. Now, there are going to be 3 vendors in this area that specifically are going to be needed for our nature mints. This is vendor number 1. If we talk to vendor number 1, we'll notice that there is a lonely mint, an adamant mint, a naughty mint, a brave mint, and a serious mint. Every single one of these vendors are going to have a serious mint, which brings your Pokemon to a neutral nature, which has no boost or a negative effect. This first vendor is going to be for physical attackers. Lonely nature is going to boost attack while lowering defense. Adamant nature is going to increase attack while lowering the special attack. The naughty nature is going to boost attack while lowering special defense, and the brave nature is going to boost the attack while lowering the speed. And this is going to be vendor number 2. Vendor number 2 is going to have the bold mint that increases defense and lowers attack, the impish mint which increases defense and lowers special attack, the lax mint that increases defense and lowers special defense, and the relaxed mint that increases defense and lowers speed. This is going to be your defense vendor. Now the third vendor here is going to be located all the way in this corner here, and you're going to be able to identify them easily because they have a little flower stand. And this vendor is going to be specifically for your special attacker group. They're going to have a modest mint that increases special attack and lowers attack, a mild mint that increases special attack and lowers defense, a rash mint that increases special attack and lowers special defense, a quiet mint that increases special attack and lowers speed, and the usual serious mint that they all have. Before we move on to the next section, why are you not subscribed? You should hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for videos like this. The next location we'll be heading to is going to be Magenta Sector 6, located over here on your map, north of Wild Zone 9, and we can just head over to this cafe right over here. Cafe Royale. Correct me in the chat, my fellow French speakers. So from here, you're going to want to go just like this in this direction and keep going past the gates to enter Wild Zone 9. And then we're going to find a little doorway right over here, a little entryway, and walk inside, and we're going to find our next vendors. So we're going to go specifically to this guy here. This is going to be our vendor for special defense mints. Now the mints that this NPC has is the calm mint that increases special defense and lowers attack, the gentle mint that increases special defense and lowers defense, the careful mint that increases special defense and lowers special attack, and the sassy mint that increases special defense and lowers speed. Now the final vendor that we'll be going for is going to be our speed vendor, and all we have to do is head over to Restaurant Lena, and it's going to be a little bit north right from here. So once you arrive at Restaurant Lena, right over here, game load in, thank you very much. we're gonna head over where this spot is, where there is a little berry person and a mint person, and this is the NPC that we'll be talking to. And the mints that she has is the timid mint that increases speed and lowers attack, the hasty mint that increases speed and lowers defense, the jolly mint that increases speed and lowers special attack, and the naive mint that increases speed and lowers special defense. Now there are other vendors in the game as well, but they are going to be duplicated ones of these same ones in different locations, if that makes sense. And the ones I showed you are basically the ones I like going to. Now for my Garchomp, I'm going to increase its speed while lowering its defense, so I'm going to go for a hasty mint here. So I'm going to buy a hasty mint just like this. And before I use the mint on Garchomp, here's what it looks like right now with its stats. So you can see that its special defense is up and its defense is down, and you can see that it is a gentle nature. And then we're going to open up our satchel and go to our other items, and we're going to scroll down all the way until we arrive at my mint. I'm then going to use this item on my Garchomp, and when I select it, it's going to say using this item might affect Garchomp's stats. Are you sure you want to use it? And then you select yes. Garchomp's stats may have changed due to the effects of the sprig of the hasty mint. And now when we open up Garchomp again and check the summary, we're going to see that its speed is up and its defense is down. However, you're still going to see that it is still gentle nature because the mint does not change the nature of the Pokemon. The mint changes the stats. So if you ever need to double check on your Pokemon, always make sure that you look at the stats. Now, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed from all that nature information, don't worry, I got something cool for you to make your life a little bit easier, and it's pretty simple to follow. If you want your Pokemon to have a role of a physical attacker, you can focus on the adamant nature or the jolly nature. The stat boost for those will be attack and speed, and the stat drop would be on special attack. If you're trying to have a Pokemon have a role of a special attacker, you'll focus on the mints of modest or timid, which will increase your special attack or speed while dropping your attack. If you're going for a bulky tank, you can focus on the impish mint, the bold mint, the calm mint, or the careful mint, which will either increase your defense or your special defense while dropping the opposite offense. If you want a mixed offense setup, you can go for the naive mint or the hasty mint like I'm doing for my Garchomp, which will stat boost your speed while lowering your defensive stat. And if you want to go for a slow build Pokemon that can be used in turn-based later for a trick room, you can go for the brave nature or the quiet nature, which is going to increase your attack or special attack while dropping your speed. Obviously, this one's not optimal for this game, but this will be great for using them in Pokemon Home or setting them to Pokemon Champions later. The big takeaway from the nature segment is that we are preparing our Pokemon's nature in order to pair it properly when we start to do EV training, which will be our next section. Now that you understand natures, let's go over EVs, which is what we're going to use to complement the natures we choose. EVs or effort values are hidden training points your Pokemon earn through battles or via items. Each Pokemon can gain a total of 510 EVs with a maximum of 252 in one stat. The higher the EVs in a stat, the stronger that stat becomes. And it's very noticeable once you hit higher levels. For example, a level 100 Pokemon with 252 attack EVs is going to deal way more damage than one without it. Now to see your Pokemon EVs, open up your summary and then press the right stick down to see the EV graph. Sparkles on a stat equals the stat is maxed out. While if you see this yellow color, that means you spent all your 510 EVs somewhere, and it's probably scattered throughout. To make that simple for you to understand, let me show you a few examples. Here's my Garchomp that we're working on right now. As you can see, if we go to check its summary and we go down to the stats, you can see that, we barely EV trained it. There's no maxed out. It's not even yellow. However, if I show you my Feraligatr, which is the one I've been using the entire game, fighting any Pokemon at any time, and as you can see on Feraligatr, it is completely yellow. So I have maxed out all the EVs this Pokemon could possibly learn, and it's probably scattered in the weirdest directions ever in the game, and no stats are maxed out. Now, let me show you an Alpha Banette. Now, Alpha Pokemon in the game automatically come with the HP already maxed out in EVs. So you can get an example of this. Here's what it looks like, where the Pokemon has a maxed out EV in 1, but it's not fully EV trained at 510. Over here, you can see that the HP is maxed out in 252 because we see the sparkle, but we don't see that yellow color, which means we still have EVs left to train. Now, here's another example I'm going to show you with a shiny Gardevoir that I caught in Wild Zone 20. If we go ahead and take a look at Gardevoir, you're going to see on the EV stats that, well, this one is completely maxed out in special attack and speed, and you can see that yellow color indicating that we have fully used all 510 EVs. So that's pretty much the difference between a Pokemon not EV trained, a Pokemon that's horribly EV trained, which is most likely your story Pokemon that you use, a Pokemon that is maxed out in 1 EV stat but not fully trained, and a Pokemon that is maxed out in 2 stats and fully EV trained. So before we talk about how to get EVs, let's first talk about how to get rid of EVs. Most likely your Pokemon have been through a lot in this game, or you just caught Pokemon you've battled things, and you have unnecessary EVs. There are actually two ways to get rid of EVs. One is going to be via the berry method, and the other method is going to be via Rust Syndicate. Let's first talk about the berry method. One of my favorite berry spots to go to in my game is going to be located by Cafe Galat or south of the Magenta Plaza Pokemon Center. So I'm going to go to Cafe Galat and just follow me right from over here. So once you arrive, all you're going to do is head down this street until you arrive at this berry stall over here. It's very close to one of the mid areas we were at in our game earlier, and we're going to find the berry vendor here. Now, this berry vendor is going to be selling 6 specific berries: a Pomeg berry, a Kelpsie berry, a Qualat berry, a Hondu berry, a Greppa berry, and a Tomato berry. Now, let me explain exactly how berries work in this game. In one stat, you can have a max of 252 EVs. One berry in this game is going to remove 10 EVs from that specific stat. The Pomeg berry is going to be removing 10 HP EVs, the Kelpsie berry is going to be removing 10 attack EVs, the Qualat berry is going to remove 10 defense EVs, the Hondu berry is going to remove 10 special attack EVs, the Greppa berry is going to remove 10 special defense EVs, and the Tomato berry is going to remove 10 speed EVs. Now, each berry is going to cost you 200 Poké Dollars, and if you want to remove an entire stat completely, you're going to need 26 of these berries in order to do that. So you're going to need 26 berries in order to do that, which will bring you to a total cost of 5,200 Poké Dollars. This method is extremely important for targeting specific EVs that you want to get rid of. So make sure you're reading the description of each berry when you are using it on your Pokemon so you know exactly what EV stat you're trying to lower. So for this example, I have an Alpha Banette. An Alpha Pokemon come with a guaranteed maximum amount trained points in HP EV. As you can see by the summary, we'll go right here, and you can see the spike with the sparkles at the HP. Now, in order for me to completely get rid of this, I'm going to have to buy the berry that is specializing in reducing HP. So for this example, I'm going to purchase 26 Pomeg berries from this vendor because it's going to reduce my HP EVs by the full amount. I'm then going to use it on my Banette, and it'll go all the way down until I get the notification on my screen that it can't go any lower. Now, here's the weird part about berries. The game won't stop you from using berries. So if I get an extra one, even after Banette is fully reduced in its HP EVs, here's what's exactly going to happen. So I'm going to go back to my satchel, grab a Pomeg berry, and if we use it on Banette, even though it's all reduced, it'll say that it still becomes more friendly, and its base points for its HP stat can't go any lower. So you can still accidentally feed the Pokemon more berries than it needs. So make sure you're just keeping track of that notification when it comes to berries. Now for the next method, we're going to open up our map and head over to the Rust Syndicate. Now the Rust Syndicate is located right over here, close to Wild Zone 5 and Wild Zone 16. So just head over here, walk through the doors, and then we're going to head to the right side of this area because there is actually a receptionist here that a lot of people may not know about. Now, this receptionist has something very specific written above her head. It says, "Need a fresh start." So a quick warning for every player: if you wasted your time vitamin training a Pokemon in one stat, do not come to the Rust Syndicate. Use the berry method, as you will lose all your progress you did towards EVs that you trained. It's only for fresh start, all right? Just wanted to get that out there so no one makes that mistake when you are EV trading. As you can see, I have my Feraligatr from the beginning of the game, which is a little bit of a chaotic Feraligatr because its EVs are distributed throughout the entire area. Now, this is the best way to clean up a Pokemon's EVs. If you ever messed up and they're just a mess, just do this instead of the berry method. Now, I have 134 Mega Shards. I'm going to now hand over my Feraligatr to clean that boy up because he is messy. Now, when you talk to her, it's only going to cost you 5 Mega Shards in order to clear away your Pokemon's base points, which is really cool, and that's really dirt cheap to do. And if you hit tell me more, she actually explains it properly. She says, I can give a Pokemon a clean state, clearing away all the base points they've worked to build up to. If you want to clear away any pesky history, bring me 5 Mega Shards and say the word, and that's pretty much it. So it's going to cost you only 5. The NPC will say, do you want me to clear away one of your Pokemon base points for 5 Mega Shards? And I'll say, let's do it. Then it asks you, which Pokemon? And let's grab a Feraligatr because it's an absolute mess. So I'm going to select this one, and then she double checked with you. Are you sure you want Feraligatr to lose all of its base points? We hit yes, and then we get a fresh, clean start with the whiteout screen. Now, when I open up Feraligatr stats, just like this, and check the summary, I can see that, oh, it is all gone. There's no more EV training left at all for Feraligatr. It's all disappeared. And on top of that, if we check my shards and my satchel, Satchel just to make sure we didn't lose any bit more than we should have, we can see that my Mega Shard amount is now 129. And originally, I started off with 134, so it's just a loss of 5. So Mega Shards, you're gonna have no problem farming these to wipe your Pokemon stats completely. Also, while I'm here, let me clean up my Garchomp stats because we're gonna do the EV training for the video. And I fought a bunch of Pokemon when he was Gibble. So Garchomp, you're getting cleaned up. There we go. Garchomp stats are clean. Also, his IVs suck. But that's going to be later in the video. Now let's actually talk about how to train your EVs, which is basically gaining EVs. So there are going to be two ways of training. The first method is going to be via items, and the second method is via power training, which I'll show you after this. Let's first talk about the item training method. Now, when you reach rank C in the game, you could head over to a Pokemon Center, and you could talk to this Nurse Joy, and when you go and say, I'd like to do some shopping, you're going to notice that you now have an option to buy things known as vitamins in your game. And there are actually 6 specific vitamins that cost 5,000 each. Each specific vitamin is made to give you 10 EVs in one stat. The HP Up vitamin is going to give you 10 EVs in HP. The Protein vitamin is going to give you 10 EVs in attack. The Iron vitamin is going to give you 10 EVs in defense. The Calcium vitamin is going to give you 10 EVs in special attack. The Zinc vitamin is going to give you 10 EVs in special defense. And the Carbos vitamin is going to give you 10 EVs in speed. Now, in order to completely max out a stat, you're going to need 26 vitamins. That's going to cost you 130,000 Pokédollars for one stat, or it's going to cost you 260,000 Pokédollars to train 2 stats to the maximum amount. Remember, you'll know that an EV stat is fully trained based on the sparkles by the stat name. Now, there's also another EV training item in the game known as feathers, and feathers are going to give you 1 EV point each. Now, feathers are common EV training items in the game that you'll easily come across as you just walk over the little gold items on rooftops, or as you're going through zones, or maybe just randomly on the street. There are 6 feathers in total. The Health Feather, which raises your HP, the Muscle Feather that raises your attack, the Resist Feather that raises your defense, the Genius Feather that raises your special attack EV, the Clever Feather that raises your special defense, and the Swift Feather that raises your speed. All of these will give you 1 EV point per feather. So for efficiency's sake, you could purchase 25 of a specific vitamin and then cap it off with 2 feathers. So you can hit the exact amount of 252 EVs as opposed to wasting an extra vitamin and losing those Pokédollars. Also remember, after you max out 2 stats, you still have a little bit of extra room in another stat that you may think you may need, but it's only very little. Now, I mentioned to you all that I'm trying to make my Garchomp a mixed attacker, so I gave it a hasty mint, so its speed is up and its defense is down. Now, for the sake of this video, we're gonna go ahead and grab my Garchomp, and I'm gonna do some shopping, and I'm going to buy vitamins that max out my special attack. So let's go find my vitamins for special attack, which is going to be my calcium vitamins. I'm going to buy 25 to save 5,000 Pokédollars, so we got to get my calcium. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Satchel, we're going to go all the way to other items, and we're going to go down to our lovely calcium, use this item, and we're going to give 25 of these to my Garchomp. Not 26, because I'm trying to do the efficient method. So I'm going to give 25. Boom! So I gained 25 of that. All right, next, I'm going to go find a feather that complements that. So my Genius Feather here. I'm going to grab one here. Whoop, and grab the second one. And then if I try to put a third one, it doesn't matter because now it's maxed out and it won't have any effect. So 25 vitamins, 2 feathers, you max out a stat. And if you want to see Garchomp's stat fully maxed out, let's go ahead and check the summary, drop down to here, and boom! Now Garchomp's special attack is fully maxed out. Now I also in this video want to max out its speed, but this is where we're going to go into part 2 of our training, which is going to be power items, and we'll be going over that and then showing you the example with our lovely Garchomp. Now before we get out there and start knocking out Pokemon to get EVs, let me explain exactly how EV training is going to work. Every single Pokemon has a specific EV value when you knock them out. For example, Magikarp has 1 EV in speed. You'd actually have to knock out 252 Magikarp in order to max out speed EVs. However, if you hold similar power items like the Power Anklet, you'll get the 1 EV in speed from knocking out Magikarp, and you'd get an additional 8 EV in speed from the Power Anklet, bringing your total EVs to 9 for Magikarp. And that's just how powerful power items are in the game. Now, there are 6 total power items in the game that each give you 8 additional EVs when you knock out a Pokemon. You have the Power Weight for HP, the Power Bracer for attack, the Power Belt for defense, the Power Lens for special attack, the Power Band for special defense, and the Power Anklet that we use in the example, which is going to be for speed. And the game gives you at least one of these power items for free by just playing it and doing the side missions. Side mission number 38, Chasing Status, gives you the Power Bracer. Side mission number 39, Slowpoke for Slowpoke, gives you the Power Belt. Side mission 69, a Sky Battle for Old Time's Sake, gives you the Power Anklet. Side mission number 72, Find My Galarian Stunfisk, gives you the Power Weight. Side mission 99, Pleasing Aaron's Palette, gives you the Power Band. And side mission 104, A Buzz About Bug Types, gives you the Power Lens. But this is not the only way of getting him. You can actually also buy power items from the Mega Shard Exchange in Corsartico, and each one costs 180 Mega Shards. And I just want to point out the max amount you'll ever need is probably going to be 5 of each, with one lead Pokemon doing all the damage, while the other Pokemon are sitting in your party benefiting from the EV kills. So if you want to mass train Pokemon, it's better to get a bunch of power items and accordingly put the correct ones on the Pokemon. That's just a pro tip if you want to train more at once. Pay attention, as now we're going to go into the deep examples. Now let's show you exactly how to EV train. To make this really simple, first stage evolution of Pokemon usually give you 1 EV, while second stage evolutions give you 2 EVs, and the third stage evolution gives you 3 EVs. If a Pokemon has a single stage evolution, it's most likely going to net you 2 EVs like Heracross and Pinsir. So if you're going to knock out a Pokemon that gives you the exact same EVs as the power item you are wearing, you're going to be looking at knocking out about 28 of that Pokemon. If you're knocking out Pokemon with 2 EVs, you're looking at knocking out about 26 of that Pokemon. So we're really looking at a range of 26 to 28 Pokemon that you're knocking out per the EV you're trying to train. So here is a nice tip that you can do when you are EV trading. Normally, most guides and most people are saying, hey, kill all the Pokemon in this zone, then jump to the next zone to find the same EV Pokemon, then jump to another zone and another zone until you knock out all the speed Pokemon and the other one respawn, depending on what EV you're going for, right? So in zone 2, for example, we have Magikarp here. Magikarp is going to give you +1 speed, as we discussed. That was not expected in my recording. Excuse me, guys, real quick. Just gonna catch that real quick. Whoa! Where was I? Magikarp are gonna give you +1 speed in the game. Now, there is a cool trick that you can do where you interact with Pokemon just like this. So I'm gonna throw out my Garchomp, and I'm gonna take both of these Magikarp out. And once they're knocked out like this, you actually get the EV points for them. And when they're knocked out and they have the stars on the head, you're just going to go right back to the zone again and repeat that over and over again. Now, for this zone, luckily, there's more Magikarp to hunt down, but this is a trick that you could do to take out Magikarp over and over again, or any other Pokemon you bump into a zone without running into any instances or situations where you're like, oh, I gotta wait. You can just do this, quickly farm, and at the same time, you're shiny hunting because you're resetting all the Pokemon in the zone. If you're trying to go for speed, I highly suggest go to zone number 2 and do this trick, and you can take out all the Magikarp. As you get closer to the number 28 of kills that you need for speed, you can start to go around and kill off the other Magikarp in the area, and you're done. But you're also shiny hunting at the exact same time. If you're trying to train your attack EVs, I highly suggest that you go over to Wild Zone 4, and once you're in there, head over to where all these Spinneracks are. There are a bunch of them, at least 6 to 7 of them that spawn on the wall. If you use a big AoE attack like Charizard over here, using a Fire Blast, you can knock them all down. You just have to be careful about how you do it, where you're not targeted by any Pokemon. So what I like to do is just go up to them, have Charizard aim at a middle one in the wall, and as he uses the Fire Blast, I'm making my character just run out of the zone so I can fast travel again and repeat that over again. And you're probably going to just do that 6 to 7 times, and you're pretty much going to be done with your attack. It's that simple. If you don't like doing that kind of training, well, then you can head over to Wild Zone number 8, where you can fight Pokemon like Machop, Sandile, Krokorok, or you can go to Wild Zone 13 and take out Pokemon like Weepinbell, Pinsir, or Heracross. Those are great zones to also train in, but I personally like the tricks to do a lot more faster EV training. Now, if you're trying to go specifically for defense training, well, there is a really fun spot, which is going to be going from the Verno Pokemon Center, and you're going to make your way all the way towards the Holovator located here on your map. Once you get to this Holovator, you're going to go on the roof and then drop down to this little section here, where you're going to find 5 Kakuna just chilling there. They're just chilling there, minding their own business, and all you have to do is hit them with an attack that'll knock them all off the tree, and they're pretty much KO'd. And then you can quickly fast travel away while they're still in the knockout state with stars on their head, and then come back and rinse and repeat and do it over again. And because you're wearing the power belt, each knockout is going to give you 10 EVs in defense, and since you're knocking out 5, that is a total of 50. And all you have to do is just repeat that 6 times to max out the amount of EVs you need for a stat. But if you don't like this method, you can head over to Wild Zone 14, where you can fight Pokemon like Aaron, Lyron, Onyx, or head to Wild Zone 15, where you can fight a bunch of Pumpkaboos, which give you also 1 EV in defense. If you're trying to go for special attack, well, then I highly suggest that you head over to the Racine Construction Zone over here. Make sure you have a Pokemon that knows AoE attacks, because this is going to be really spicy, because the Pokemon that we're going to fight are going to be Pyroars, and Pyroars each are going to give you a +2 in special attack, and with the Power Lens, each one is going to net you 10 EVs in the stat. And as you can see, there are 6 total lions over here. Obviously, if you want to do a quick one-shot, your Pokemon has to be really high level, or you just have to focus on the baby lions and then reset again. But the strategy is to walk in the zone, do an AoE on as many as you can. As they're knocked out, exit the zone as quick as possible, and then you're going to just reset back over to Racine Construction and do it over again until you are done with your special attack. Preferably, the move Surf is going to work really well if you have a Pokemon with good special attack. If you're trying to train your special defense EVs and you're wearing the corresponding item of the Power Band, well then Flabébés are going to be your perfect knockout, as you can find them everywhere in the game throughout the city. Now, Flabébés are going to give you 1 EV point, but if you're wearing the power item, every knockout is going to give you 9, which means you just have to knock out 28 of these. And sometimes you might be able to find its next evolution, Floette, which is going to give you +2 EVs, and with the power item, that's going to give you 10. And if you go to Wild Zone 16, sometimes you'll find a Florges there. If you knock those out, they'll give you +3, which means you're getting 11 EVs per kill, which is really nice. Another place that you could train your special defense is by going over to Wild Zone 18 and climbing all the way to the top during the daytime, where you will find Altaria and Swablu's over here, and they're going to drop +1 for Swablu's and +2 for Altaria. So if you want to quickly just teleport around and get those two, if you're running around, that's an option. But I just suggest you go for Flabébés, as they are the easiest. If you want to train your HP EVs really easily, all you have to do is head over to Wild Zone 19, and we're going to just farm Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan's are going to give you a +2 per kill, as well as the Audinos here for +2. So you can just walk in, take it out, and then just immediately reset as soon as you're done. So here we go. There's a Kangaskhan. Bada bing, bada boom. Do a little Earthquake on this guy. Boom. Do a little Surf on this guy if I want. My Garchomp's not all the way powered up. And then I'm going to go for a Draco Meteor. But if you're stronger than me, you should be able to easily do it, right? And then here's the knockout. And done. And then you're just going to reset and go back and just farm that for about 26 times and you're done. Or you could group multiple Kangaskhan up and make it even faster. And maybe some of you might even find a shiny while doing this. So let me know in the comments if you did. There's one more EV training method that nobody has talked about online, and this is something that you could do in the ZA Royale. Now let me explain exactly what to do. First, you're going to identify what EV you're trying to train. And if you want to double or triple check exactly what EVs a Pokemon may give, you can head over to PokemonDB.net, plug in that Pokemon, and see their exact EV yield. Luckily, if you're in the end game or post game, all the ZA Royales have 3rd stage or final stage evolution Pokemon, which means you're looking at 2 or 3 EVs per fight, and the 3 EVs means less work for you. Now, all you have to do is identify the Pokemon. For example, I see a Machamp over here. This Machamp is +3 in attack, and I just have to sneak up on him, hit him, and then back up as soon as possible, and that knocks him out, and then I repeat and do it over and over again. And if you take a look at my Totodile that I just started from scratch, my shiny Totodile, you can see that its attack EVs are starting to spike towards attack as soon as I'm doing this when I'm equipping it with the correct power item. So this is just a quick trick if anyone wants to do it while making money in a ZA Royale and targeting specific trainers. So there you go. Now let's move on to the next section of our video, which is IVs. Now let's talk about Pokemon IVs. Pokemon IVs actually stand for individual values, which are pretty much a set of hidden genetic-like stats that determine a Pokemon's potential for each of its base stats. And the cool thing about these are that they are randomly assigned when a Pokemon is created. So think about it, when you find a new Pokemon in the wild, they're already going to have these predetermined values. And these cannot be changed unless you do IV training with BottleCaps in this game, which we'll get into. Now, in order to even see your IV potential of your Pokemon, you're going to have to unlock the Judge feature, which you get in the post game. And all you have to do is press the R stick once you are in the summary screen. And you'll see words like best, fantastic, very good, pretty good, decent, and no good. And what this basically means is best equals a number of 31, which is the highest a Pokemon can be. Fantastic is going to be the number 30. Very good is going to range between 26 and 29. Pretty good is going to range between 16 and 25. Decent is going to range between 1 and 15. And no good, or pretty much bad, is going to equal 0. And to make it really simple to you, the only 2 big numbers that you should care about is 31 and 0. 31 is the best because your Pokemon is going to have much higher stats than Pokemon with with something less than it. But here's where Zero comes into play, so I can explain it for you all. In competitive Pokemon, when it comes to turn-based, which this game is not, but you might transfer your Pokemon out to the future games, Zero is going to be very useful for things like speed. In Pokemon, there's a move that is called Trick Room, which is going to allow Pokemon that are slower to outdo Pokemon that are faster by flipping this room and making slower Pokemon move first. A Pokemon with a 0 value in IVs for speed is going to then move faster than a Pokemon with any kind of value of IVs in speed. I hope that explains why 0 is a good number in certain scenarios. But this is Pokemon Legends EA, so don't think too hard about that one. So in order to improve your Pokemon's IVs, make sure that the Pokemon you want to HyperTrain are level 50 or higher. And if you haven't reached level 50 after EV training your Pokemon, here's a cool trick to get XP fast. If you go to a ZA Royale at nighttime and find a Nurse Joy character NPC battling, something that you could do is quietly approach her and then get a first strike while running away, and this will cause you to get a ton of XP, and you can repeat this over and over again because when you walk away from trainers, their Pokemon just respawn. And if you want to get even more XP, you could equip a lucky egg onto your Pokemon, and you could grab this lucky egg from side mission 109. I just wanted to give you an alternative besides having to go grind for candies or buy EXP candies. So totally up to you what you want to do. So now that we know what IVs are, where do we go to improve our IVs? And what's all this bottle cap nonsense? Well, to figure this out, you're going to have to open up your map and head over to the Justice Dojo to the east of Wild Zone number 20, and you've been here if you fought a certain character in the game. Now, once you go inside of the Justice Dojo, you're going to turn to the right. We're going to have two NPCs here. One that is going to be specifically for Seeds of Mastery moves, which we'll go over, but one for specifically hyper training. Now, in order to do hyper training, your Pokemon must at least be a level of 50. That's it. Level 50, and you can do this hyper training. And basically, hyper training is going to artificially turn our bad stats into perfect stats for IVs. So, for example, I have a Charizard over here, and there are two items here, gold bottle caps and regular bottle caps. And I'm going to get a little more specific on these later, but let's just say I want to improve one IV. I'm going to select a regular bottle cap. And as you can see, if we press in our R stick, there are three stats here that are the best: special attack, defense, and speed. And why is Charizard this perfect? Well, because he was a gift Pokemon that was given to you from one of the side missions in the game. And believe it or not, those starter Pokemon actually have 3 perfect IVs. Not only that, but whenever you catch an alpha Pokemon and you select the judge feature, you'll be able to always see that these Pokemon are going to have 3 perfect IVs, which means hyper training them is going to be a lot easier. And you'll know you won't be able to train a stat any further because you'll see a little crown next to defense, special attack, and speed, meaning it's already hyper trained. And just for fun, we're going to go ahead and just hyper train its attack, just like this. So I'm going to hit attack with one bottle cap and I'm going to start training. Then you're going to get a white screen, just like this. Now it says Charizard is even stronger. And let's take a look at Charizard exactly. So I'm going to go to my Charizard, check the summary. I don't know why I call him Zord sometimes. Let me know if you call him that. Anyway, when we go to his stats, you're going to see that now it says attack is hyper trained, which basically puts it at a value of 31, which is the best. So hyper train is basically equal to the word best. And now Charizard has 4 perfect IVs. That's what regular bottle caps do. You can select it. Now, there's also something that this lady has called a gold bottle cap, which you have acquired throughout your journey, which is actually one of the hardest bottle caps to come across in this game. So if we click gold bottle caps, what those are going to do is train every single one of the stats and make the Pokemon completely perfect. Now, just a quick warning. If your Pokemon is focused on just physical attacking, it makes absolutely no sense to hyper train a Pokemon with a gold bottle cap, giving it special attack. The only time you're going to really want a perfect Pokemon is if they're going to be a mixed attacker using special attacks and physical attacks. If they're not, I would just focus on making it a 5 IV Pokemon. And I don't want to bait everyone to say make a perfect Pokemon because it's the best thing to do, as I also gave you an example of how having speed at the worst is sometimes the best as well. So you have to really critically think if you want to make a Pokemon perfect or not. Now let's take the level 50 Garchomp that I have and go ahead and use a gold bottle cap on it, because my Garchomp actually is going to be a mixed attacker because that's how I'm building him. So here are the stats of Garchomp at level 50. And now once I do the gold bottle cap on Garchomp, here's the cutscene. You can see all the stats have completely risen up for the Garchomp, which is really nice. And it makes sense that I'm going to have Garchomp perfect because I'm going to use it as a mixed attacker for physical and special attacks. Now, if you're wondering how to get bottle caps in the game, well, there's a couple of places you can get it from just doing quests. Mabel's Research is going to give you 10 bottle caps as a gift at level 36. Mabel's Research is going to give you 3 gold bottle caps at level 48. If you do side quest 96, Let Us Battle, you're going to be getting a reward of 2 bottle caps. which this side quest is unlocked after main mission 35. If you do side quest 103 facing the Furfro League, which we have done a video on my channel, so you should definitely go ahead and watch that, you'll get 1 gold bottle cap. Now there's also 2 other places where you can get bottle caps. So you can actually find a spot in zone 20 where you can get a regular bottle cap. All you have to do is just follow me around this area until you arrive in this area where you're going to find a Pokeball located right over here on your map. Here's the green dot, and you'll be able to pick up a bottle cap here. There's also another way which is going to require a lot more work, but it's by doing the ZA Infinite Royale, which is a post game, and by doing it you have a chance of getting a gold bottle cap from that, which is going to obviously hyper train your Pokemon all the way with every single one of those stats to make them perfect. Just remember, think about what you want to use your gold bottle caps on, as those are the hardest as of right now to get in the game. Now let's move on to the Seeds of Mastery, which is something you've probably seen from knocking out alpha Pokemon and getting them as a reward, and see exactly what they do to maximize the potential of our Pokemon to make them overpowered. Now let's talk about Seeds of Mastery, which is what this NPC on the left is going to do. A great way to get a bunch of Seeds of Mastery consistently is just by taking out alpha Pokemon. You'll notice every time you defeat an alpha Pokemon, or if you catch them, that they will drop Seeds of Mastery along with experience candies. So what exactly does it do? If you go to your satchel and you go down all the way to Seed of Masteries, it says that a certain person can help you upgrade your Pokemon moves into plus moves if given one of these. Now, believe it or not, a lot of players still don't even know about their plus moves in the game, and when you highlight something and you press the plus button on your Switch controller, that's what's going to happen as you're activating that plus move. If you're not activating it, it doesn't show up. So this is what it looks like without it, and this is what it looks like when you enabled it. And what that's going to do is consume some of the bar from your mega circle meter on the bottom right. It's going to consume some of that in order to perform the attack. So that's exactly what that does. Now, what you want to do with all your Pokemon is completely upgrade their moves. So when you talk to this person, you'll speak and say, let's do it, and then it'll bring you to a menu where you can just select the move. So I'm going to select Garchomp, and then she's going to give me the options of the 3 moves that I can have currently equipped on him to make it plus. And Earthquake is definitely going to be one of them, because if I'm not mega evolving a Pokemon, this is the best way I could hit a Pokemon and destroy them with. So I'm going to make that a plus move. There we go. So now when you target something, you can see exactly what is allowed to be a plus move, and you can see now Garchomp can hit all of these attacks and use all these plus moves in order to take out other Pokemon or enemies online. Now, one more thing I want to point out about the plus moves, you can check the summary of the Pokemon and hit change moves, and if it doesn't have a plus, you could just equip it to your Pokemon in order to go and talk to this lady to upgrade it. So your most popular moves is what you want to do. There's no point in plus moving everything if it's not a move you're going to use. If this video helped you out, make sure to drop a sub and check out this video over here.